The Lord be with you and with your spirit. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Chapter 8, verses 1 to 4. When Jesus came down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And behold, a leper came to him and knelt before him, saying, Lord, if you will, you can make me clean. And Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I will be clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus said to him, see that you say nothing to anyone, but go show yourself to the priest and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a proof to them. The Gospel of the Lord. Dear friends, we come to the conclusion of 2 Kings chapter 25. And this is how the whole book ends. And we see how Jehoiakim was taken into exile, and they made Zedekiah, his own uncle, as the king. And after some time, Zedekiah, he starts revolting against Nebuchadnezzar, and his sons were slaughtered in front of his own eyes, and Zedekiah's eyes were pulled out, and he was taken into exile. But very interestingly, we see something strange happening in this chapter 25. Jehoiakim, the king who was taken into exile, was actually given a very royal treatment by the Babylonians, by Nebuchadnezzar himself. He was actually dining with the king, and he was having his own share, and he continued to live his life till the end of his life. He lived, though as a captive in Babylon, he enjoyed all the privileges, which is very, very strange. But my dear friends, I think it's a sign that the Lord is giving for the people of Israel, for everyone, that with this the life of, or the history of Israel is not coming to an end. The northern kingdom, of course, disappeared, and this is a southern kingdom which is actually a remnant. But this remnant will come up again. And maybe this is a sign, looking at Jehoiakim, though he may not have deserved any of this treatment, though being captive in Babylon, was treated well. It gives us all a hope for the people of Israel, for the people of Judah, that it is not an end. There is an opportunity to live again. There is a ray of hope coming from this event. And we just move to the gospel today, a beautiful gospel to reflect on. Though it's very short, we see how the virulent, the leper who comes, and he comes and meets Jesus. The rule says the moment you are found with leprosy, you are supposed to move out and get quarantine. Now, all of us are very familiar with this word, quarantine. At this point of time, the moment you are found positive, you are supposed to go either by the norms of government, or you are supposed to be in a place all by yourself, and we are not allowed to touch anyone, we are not allowed to meet anyone. Maybe this concept was rather strange for us to understand till we had this problem of COVID-19. Because whenever we preached on leprosy, it was only a kind of concept that we were trying to understand. But today, it is very easy for us to understand. Those days, leprosy was like today's corona, COVID-19. So people have to go and they have to live in quarantine, and they are not allowed to meet anyone. They are not allowed to touch anyone. Here we see, as soon as Jesus was passing by, this man takes courage, he breaks all the rules and comes and meets Jesus. And we see Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, which is completely against the rule. But it was because of the faith and hope this particular leper had in Jesus that he would be able to cure him, and that is why he calls him master, a teacher, a person who has an authority. So he believes that Jesus could actually do something for his life, and Jesus very boldly does something which is not allowed, and everyone sees this. And yet again Jesus says, go and show to the priest. You don't open your mouth and tell everyone what has happened. It's not that Jesus was scared of the consequences, but Jesus is, again you see how thoughtful, because till the priest gives them certificate that they are fine, they were still considered as people who were still having the disease. So only when they show to the priest, the whole process of healing gets completed. And Jesus wanted this person to have this whole process get completed. And that is how he sends this leper to go and show yourself to the priest. And see how, in spite of breaking the rule for the person's good, Jesus still keeps up the norms of the society and the norms of the times, especially when people had this killer disease. The first reading and the gospel reading together gives us a beautiful, beautiful message for us. There we see, in spite of complete destruction, the way Jehoiakim was treated gives us a sign of hope that God is not putting an end. It's not a full stop. It is only a comma. Things are going to move forward. Here again we see, with the leprosy, people thought everything was going to come to an end, and with that person's life no one is going to meet them, and they will die in isolation. But Jesus gives them the ray of hope and heals. At this point of time, when people are struggling with all these problems, there is a lot of disturbances. With all this, one strong message that Jesus gives all of us is this: don't get panicked. I am here with all of you. There is always hope. There is always hope, even in this difficult times. All that is expected from us is to have a very strong trust and hope in the Lord. I am sure Jesus has his own way of leading us forward, and he is also going to lead every one of us forward during this tough time of this pandemic.